Yo, what is it? You already know what it is, man. This is your man, Levon. Welcome back to my channel. You already know what day it is. It's hump day! Yeah, halfway through the week, man. The rest of the week is all downhill, you dig? Even though it may be raining here, you know, and it's wet, it's still all downhill. Just gotta be careful how fast you go. But anyway, welcome back to my channel. It is Wisdom on Wednesday, you dig? And we got some wisdom on this Wednesday. All right, we're gonna be talking about courage, right? Different types of courage and how it's supposed to be used, right? But before we get into that, please like this video, share this video on all your platforms, subscribe to the channel. Don't cost you nothing to subscribe. Hit that like button. Don't cost you nothing, just hit the like button. Make sure you turn on your bell notification so you're always notified whenever I upload content, you dig? All right, yo, let's get into this. So as me being a father, you know, I have several sons, and also being a son myself, you dig? There's certain things that, you know, I've talked to my sons about. There's certain things that I've, you know, instructed them on, or, you know, try to guide them in, because that's what a father does, right? And some things I've been successful in and you know, getting them to adhere to. Some things they've been successful in retaining, right? But that's what we do as fathers. We give instruction to our sons, set parameters, we set guidelines, we try to give them things for them to latch on to and adhere of and take to heart, so that when they become old, they'll remember. When they find themselves in the circumstances, they'll remember. When they start to question certain things and things of that nature, they'll remember the words that were spoken by their fathers. That's our hope, that's our desire, that's our goal, right? And a lot of times when we're trying to instruct them, you know, and give them things that we see and know because of our experience that we know they haven't seen and experienced yet, we try to paint a picture for them. And we try to use different analogies and different parables and different similes, right? Different situations and circumstances that we either show them while, you know, we're going through our day, or you know, we may point things out to them. Hey, check this out. See this, see that over there? And then we may run down the situation to them, right? Try to spit a little knowledge. Make things easier for them to understand by actually seeing it happen, or painting such a picture that they can understand and they can relate from what's happened in their life or from their mind's perspective. So a lot of times in doing it as men, right, one of the things we tell our sons is to be strong, right? Son, be strong. You did? Why? Because we don't want them being picked on, and we don't want them being weak, and we don't want them being bullied, or, you know, we don't want them to fall prey to life, right? We don't want them to fall victim to people, because people are vicious, you know, especially if they don't think that you're strong. If you don't think you have any gumption, any standing power, any willpower, any courage, you dig? They'll take advantage of you. They'll use you. They'll abuse you. You know, they may even kill you, you know, in today's age. So it's imperative that we as fathers teach our sons to be strong, right? Okay. And that is going down the right track, right? We need to teach them to be strong. But then it turns into the question of how do they be strong? When do they be strong? You know, what do they be strong in? With whom do they be strong? So then, another thing that we tell our kids as fathers, we tell them to be strong, right? Don't be weak, don't be no punks, don't let nobody walk over you, stand your ground, you know what I'm saying? Say what you mean what you say, be strong. Whether that's being outspoken, whether that's standing up for someone, whatever we describe to them being strong is. Another thing we tell our sons is, have courage. Where we go wrong as fathers is we don't necessarily explain what courage is, and or that, the different types of courage. I mean, think about it. We, for the most part, well, let me go and use me as an example, okay? I know that, I wasn't raised by my dad. I was raised by my grandmother, but, she never explained to me about courage. She never explained to me about being strong. And later on, when my dad did come in my life, he did encourage me to do those things, but not necessarily how to have courage, right? When to have it. I didn't even really know what courage was until I became an adult. So, but these things, a lot of fathers tell their children, because I did to my sons, and at the time, I don't believe that I explained to them what courage was. Told them to be strong, told them, be courageous, and, you can do this and you can do all the things, but I really don't believe at that time I explained to them what courage was, right? And what courage simply is strength in the face of pain or grief. That's what courage is. It's strength in the face of pain or grief. There's plethora types of pain, right? There's, plethora types of grief, okay? Being disappointed, being let down, being offended, being hurt, all those can come up under the umbrella of grief. And, pain, whether it's physical pain, whether it's emotional pain, whether it's mental pain, whether it's spiritual pain, financial pain. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Pain comes in a form of different ways, but courage is having strength in the face of the pain and the grief. See, when you can have strength in the face of those things, and the things that you're fearful of, the things that you're afraid of, when you can stand those things in the face, when you can have enough strength, enough gumption to stand in the face of your pain, in the midst of your grief, that is what's called, or what we have coined or determined as courage. Okay? Are we teaching our sons to have courage, which is strength in the face of their pain or their grief? Are we teaching them to be strong? How do you be strong? You trust in the Lord and knowing that He's going to be with you wherever you go and whatever He tells you to do. That's how you be strong. Right? So, we tell our children to be strong, be of good courage, be good to people, don't go around hurting people, doing things unnecessarily, causing problems. We tell them, to speak when you're spoken to. Don't speak out of turn. All these type deals. But those are one of the two biggest things that we tell our sons. And so we have an example of this in the Word, right? We have an example of God saying to us the very same things, to be strong and to be of good courage. And the example is he uses David with his son Solomon. When Solomon says to his son, the first thing that comes out of his mouth is be. He didn't have a choice in the matter. He told him to be. If he had a choice, he'd said choose. But he didn't say choose, did he? He said be. Right? So in being, he didn't have a choice. The only thing he could choose is what to be, when to be, and how to be. But the first thing out of his mouth was be. That's a command. That's not a choice that you have. If he'd have said choose, that'd have been the first thing out of his mouth. He'd have said choose. That gives you some leverage, some leeway, some you have to think. You can use your imagination, your input, your 2 cents. No, he didn't say that. He said be. He said, son, be. Be what? Be when? Be how? Be who? He says, be strong. The first thing he told him, be strong. Right? Why? Okay, so we're gonna see why he said strong first, not be courageous or be this or be that. He said be strong. And of what? He didn't say just be strong and courageous or courage. Be strong and have courage. He said good courage. Why? Because if there's a good courage, then obviously there's a bad courage, right? We already know what courage is. Courage is strength in the face of pain or grief. So if you have a good courage, that's having good strength. You can have a bad courage, right? You can have bad strength, bad intentions. You can have not just a good courage or bad courage. You can have, false courage, right? False courage is when you're under an influence to be strong in the face of pain or grief, to do and say things, but it's not of a strong courage. It's not of a, it's not of a good strength. It's not of a bad. It's of a false strength. You're faking it like you're strong, but you're really not. You know what I'm saying? You're faking like you're more than what you are. There's also what they call liquid courage, right? And say that you get from drinking. Gives you this courage to say stuff and do stuff that you normally wouldn't do, because normally you wouldn't have the strength because of this alcohol in some shape, form, or fashion. You get this liquid courage, right? So just saying, if there's a good courage that God talks of, then there's a false or bad courage. You dig? And when you're facing pain and you're facing grief, you definitely don't want to have something that's negative. You definitely don't want to have something that's not real. You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to? You're already facing pain of whatever it is. You're already, grieving or have grief behind whatever it is. Why would you want to have to deal with that, have to face that, be in the midst of that with negativity? You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to have to do that with fake and phoniness? How is that going to get you through what you're going through? I hear people say all the time, fake it till you make it. But when the rubber meet the road, fake it till you make it is not going to get it. It's just not. You're going to have some real deal Holyfield stuff saved up. And it's called courage. And it has to be a good courage, right? Why? Because how can you have courage without strength? Because courage is derived from strength. So you can't have courage. You can't have the strength to face your fears, the strength to deal with the grief that's going on if you're weak, if you're soft, if you're passive, if you let people walk over you, if you don't stand up and open your mouth, if you let people bully you, that's not showing courage. Courage is having the strength in the midst of being bullied or who's bullying you. Courage is standing and facing those bills that's mounting up. Making a phone call to make arrangements, regardless of the embarrassment or who knows your business or what. Courage is having the strength to go to the person that, you did wrong, or you some kind of way, you falsified, or you lied, or you stole from, and say, I'm sorry, forgive me. Regardless of how embarrassing. Courage is when you can go to the community that you lied to or you hurt, the church or the families or whatever, and admit your fault and say I was wrong and ask for forgiveness. That's courage. That's real courage. That's what we need to be teaching our sons. Why? Because they're going to make mistakes. We made mistakes. I know I made plenty of mistakes. Right? And though my father, told me and tried to tell me things when I was older and, just before I was about to make them and did make them, but I didn't have that when I was growing up, when I was young and being reared. And if I'd have had that, maybe I wouldn't have made some of the mistakes I've made. But in the same time, I've tried to instill that in my sons that they were coming up. And there were things I've missed. There were things I didn't explain because God just revealed them to me in my older age, in my older years. But it's still not too late to go back and say, hey, son, let me tell you about this. If you don't know, you know what I'm saying? So you don't make the same mistakes. And that's what we got to do. That's what God does with us. And it's not just fathers to sons. It's God does this with all of us, because whether you're male or female, you're his son and his daughters. But I'm just using the analogy from father to son, like David did with him and Solomon. Because why? He didn't go to his son and say, you're going to be this. He already knew what he was going to be. That's why he said, be blah and blay and this and that. because this is what you're going to need. This is what's going to sustain you. This is what's going to help you, right? That's just how God does with us. He says, look, son, daughter, be strong. First and foremost, if you're in me, there's no reason for you not to be strong, because in me is perfect peace. In me is fullness of joy. In me, there is no fear. There is no negativity. It's only love and joy and peace. And regardless of what you go through, if you're in me and you know that I am in you, you can be courageous. Even when life happens, right? Life happens, life causes pain. Life causes grief. But in the midst of your pain, in the midst of your grief, if you're in me and I'm in you, you can face it. So there's no reason for you not to be strong. There's no reason for you to walk around here weak. There's no reason for you to allow abuse to happen to you. No, I'm not saying, you got to fight folks and you got to, go to toe and be ill and argue. No, I'll fight your battles. But inwardly, why are you not being strong? Why are you not exuberating strength? Because I'm in you. So there's no reason for you to cower and be afraid and not face the pain and the grief or whatever it is. I'm in you. You can face it. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to be with you. Right? I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be right here. He says, be strong and be of good courage and do it. See, that gets left off a lot. We hear people throw that phrase around, be strong and of good courage. What about the rest of it? Or what about the rest of the story, as the saying goes? What about the rest of it? Okay, be strong and of good courage. But there is another part to that. This is what people don't say. He says, and do it. Yeah, Nike stole that from God. Just do it. No, God had been said that. And do it. The only thing is, Nike put a twist on it to try to make it like they had a choice and say, well, just do it. Like if just do it. Like they're encouraging you. They're trying to motivate. Just do it. No, God wasn't trying to. God gave a command. And do it. You don't believe me? Read it for yourself. And David said to Solomon, his son, be strong first. Told him to be strong. Why? Because in order to have courage, you have to have strength. Makes sense, right? Be strong. And of not just any kind of courage, good courage. And do it. First, I'm telling you to be. I'm not giving you a choice to choose. That wasn't my first word to choose. It's be. Then I'm telling you how to be. Be strong. Why? Because you're going to need strength when you face trials and tribulations in the world. As king. As someone having my authority in you. Flowing through you. You're going to need strength. Why? Because strength is going to give you the courage, the ability to face your pain and your grief. So the first thing I'm telling you is to be strong. I'm telling you to be, that's a command. That's not a choice. And then I'm telling you how to be. Be strong first. You can be strong with me in you and you in me if you stay in me. Second, be of good courage, not of a false courage or a fake courage or any kind of other courages. Be of a good courage because you're going to need to have a strength that is positive when you face these difficult, painful, and grieving situations. If you have a false courage, then what's going to happen? You're going to go in with a false strength, and what's going to happen? The devil's going to eat you up. He's going to say, yeah, Paul I know. Jesus I know. But who are you? up here with this fake and phony strength. Man, let me show you something. Rip, rip. So no, be of a good courage. Okay? And do it. Yo, the best legacy that, we can leave behind is to raise a people that, will rise up in the fear of God and continue our good work. That's the best legacy that we can leave, is that we leave behind to, a work to be done, right? But that work to be done is being raised by people that fear God. Whether that's our children, our neighbor's children, a co-worker, someone we meet on the street, whoever lives that we touch and influence in some kind of positive and motivating way, let that be the legacy that we leave behind. Let that be the legacy that we leave behind, that we raise up. Whoever we come in contact with, whoever we touch, whoever enters into our circle and our space, let them be touched and affected by our words, right? By our strength, by our courage that we show in the midst of a painful and grieful situation. That's when people look at you, and that's when people really judge your character and they say, wow, that's deep. I don't want some of that. I need some of that, what they got. That's legacy. To raise up people to fear God in such a reverent and respectful way, that they honor him, that they do what he says with strength and with courage. Don't just talk about it. Don't just say it, right? Don't just talk about how strong you are all the time. You ain't no weak, you ain't no punk, you ain't this, and you strong, you ain't finna let nobody. That's a punk. Stop doing all that talking about how strong you are. Right? And if you're going to show courage, if you're going to talk about courage and talk about how courageous you may be, show proof of it. How? By your actions. Show proof of it by facing difficult and hurtful and painful situations with strength. Positively. Good courage, not bad courage, false courage, negative courage, of fake courage, of good courage. And then what? Not only be strong and of good courage, do it. Don't talk about it. Do it. See, if you're doing, you don't have time to be talking all the time. If you're doing it, if you're constantly talking about what you're going to do, what you're going to do, what you're going to do, but when are you going to say, I did it? It's done. Here are the receipts. Do it. Okay? That's what God said. Be this way and be this way, and then do it. A command, not a choice. Then he goes on to say, and fear not. Don't be afraid. I didn't give you the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind or self-control. I didn't give you the spirit of fear. Fear is not in me. So if you're in me, why are you fearful? Because fear is not in me. Fear not. Okay? And he goes on to say, and or nor be. So fear not, because there's no fear in me. There's no reason for you to fear. Okay, I don't operate in that space or realm. I don't have nothing to do with that. The only time I even deal with or thinking about dealing with fear is when I'm dispelling it, when I'm casting it out, when I'm disintegrating and tearing it up. And I send my word to do that. I send angels. I send my word. I'm too holy. I don't deal with that. So if you operating in that, then you're not operating in me. So fear not, nor be dismayed. What does dismayed mean? Anxious, worried, frazzled, feathers ruffled, panties in a bunch, whatever analogy you want to use for dismayed. Dismayed is when you're not at peace. How about that? So don't be fearful and don't lose your peace, right? For the Lord God. Who? No, not just any God, the Lord God. The Lord God being Yahweh, the Ancient of Days. Okay? Then he says, even my God. So I'm not just giving you a generalization of the title of who God is, but I'm even making it personal as your father to son, not just king to prince, but father to son. As he says, even my God. So a son looking up to his father like, oh, okay, so it's not just he telling me about this any particular, he's like, no, son, the one that I serve and worship, even my God will, okay, will, not shall, not might, not maybe, not will be with thee. He will not fail thee, nor will he forsake thee. When? Until thou hast finished all the work for the service of the house of the Lord. So you ain't got to fear, you ain't got to fret, you ain't got to worry. Why? Because he's going to be with us. Anything that he's put our hands to do and called us to do, just do it. And I'm not saying that as giving you a suggestion. I'm saying that just as a plea of obedience. Just do it. Because he says, and do it. Now, I can suggest to you, which is what I'm doing, but he's not suggesting, he's giving it a command. He's saying, and. Don't forget, and. Hear what I'm saying. And do it. Now you can listen to me if you want to, or you can hear what I'm saying. Be strong and be of good courage, because you're going to need that. You're going to need strength to be able to face pain and grief. Okay? And do it. Don't talk about it. Do it. Be a strong man or woman for God. Be courageous for things that are right in hurtful and painful situations. Don't retaliate evil for evil. Don't go murmuring and backbiting and talking about folks because they did that to you, or how they did whatever they did, and because you're hurt, and the way you deal with your pain and the way you deal with your grief is to lash out. No. Be strong. But being strong don't mean you always gotta whip somebody when they're lash, or I'm gonna hit them first before they get me. No. Be strong. Strong means show strength, have some fortitude, have the ability to stand. Even that's why God says, stand still. Stand still and know that I am God. If you stand still, I'll fight your battle. How? By giving you the strength to face pain and grief with good courage. That's how I'll fight your battle. I'll give you what you need to be able to stand in the situation. And as long as you trust in me and know that I'm not going nowhere and I got your back, there's no need for you to be afraid. And there's no need for you to be anxious or to worry. Because until the work that I've given you to do is done, I'm going to be with you. Anyway, this is your man, Levon. I hope that encourages someone out there today, right? God says, be strong and be of good courage, right? And do it. And do it. And do it. Do it. You know what I'm saying? And do it. And don't be fearful and don't be anxious. You know what I'm saying? Don't be worried. Don't let anxiety take over your life and cause you to have all this stress all in your body. And, you know, you can't stay focused and you can't think because you're just so stressed out all the time. Get rid of that anxiety spirit. You dig? And start trusting in God and knowing that he's got your back. Whatever he's called you to do it. Because he's with you. He's going to see you through. Even in the rough times, and even hard times, even when it seems like all the doors are being shut and you ain't getting a yes, just do it. Trust him. Follow him. You dig? And what? He'll be with you until the work is completed. Anyway, this is your man, Levon. I hope someone is blessed on this Wisdom on Wednesday today, on this hump day. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Please share this video, like this video with everybody you know. Leave comments down below. Let other people know that they can leave comments. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. This is your Ben Levon. This is Ben Levon Says. One love, and I'm out.